After hosting every holiday for 12 years, I got a text from my daughter-in-law. "Don't bother coming. We're cutting off dead weight." When I called my son, he said, "Her family is nicer anyway." I sat in the dark on Christmas Eve alone. Until I decided enough was enough. I'm not young anymore. I've had arthritis in my knees since my late 50s. My back gives out if I stand too long. Still, every holiday, I was on my feet from dawn to night. I didn't mind. I really didn't. I did it for family. I live alone in Gresham, Oregon, in the same small 2-bedroom house Caleb grew up in. His dad left when Caleb was in middle school. No note, no explanation. Just gone one morning. After that, it was just me and him. I picked up night shifts as a nurse. I worked holidays, weekends, and birthdays. Caleb didn't have much growing up, but I made sure he had stability. He never went hungry. Never went without a warm bed or new school shoes. When he married Julie, I was nothing but kind. I bought her a necklace on their wedding day. I made her favorite dessert at every Thanksgiving after she mentioned once she liked cherry cobbler. I welcomed her into my home, even though she never really welcomed me into hers. Still, I showed up. Every time. 12 years. That's how long I hosted every holiday. Every Christmas tree was bought and decorated by me. Every turkey was cleaned and roasted by me. Every gift for the grandkids? Me. They'd never even send a list. I'd just guess. Julie said they didn't want to burden me, but they never said no to what I gave. They showed up, they ate, they smiled. And then they left their plates for me to clean. Every single year. I was okay with it. I thought it was love. Last year, on December 23rd, I was out buying groceries. I was standing in the canned goods aisle looking for cranberry sauce when I heard my phone buzz. I opened it, thinking it might be Caleb or one of the grandkids. Instead, I saw this. "Don't bother coming. We're cutting off dead weight. You'll be fine. Merry Christmas." I read it 5 times. My hands started shaking. I didn't even finish shopping. I left my cart right there. Drove home. Sat in my driveway for an hour. I called Caleb. He answered on the second ring. "Hey," I said. "What's going on?" I got a strange message from Julie. He didn't ask what it said. He just sighed and said, "Yeah. She told me she sent that." My heart started pounding. "What does that mean?" I asked. There was a long pause. Then he said, "We're just done, Mom. We don't want to do holidays with you anymore." I asked. "Why?" He said. "Because her family is nicer. They don't make everything about them." "What have I made about me?" I asked. "I cook, I clean, I buy everything. I've never asked you for anything. You're just too much," he said. "It's easier this way." That was the last thing he said before hanging up. I remember sitting in the living room, staring at the Christmas tree. The ornaments were already on. I had wrapped gifts for the grandkids. The fireplace was clean. The fridge was full of food. It was supposed to be Christmas. Instead, I turned the lights off and sat in the dark. I didn't eat dinner. I didn't open a single present. I sat in the quiet while everyone I loved laughed somewhere else. No one came. No one called. Christmas Eve came and went. That night, I laid awake in bed, staring at the ceiling, and something inside me snapped. Not in a dramatic, movie kind of way. It was quiet. Cold. Just a small voice that said, "They don't get to do this to you. They don't get to treat me like I'm trash and walk away without consequences." I didn't know what to do yet, but I knew I wasn't going to let this be the ending. I was tired of being the person who gave and gave and gave, just to be thrown away. That was the start of it. The next few weeks were hard. I'd catch myself looking at the front door, half expecting Caleb to show up and say it was all a mistake. He didn't. I cried a lot. I stopped cooking. I stayed in my pajamas most days. I'd walk past the framed photos on the hallway wall and feel this tight pain in my chest. Then, one morning, I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize myself. My eyes looked hollow. My hair was greasy. I had been surviving off toast and canned soup. That's when I knew this couldn't be my life. So I started cleaning house, literally and figuratively. I packed every photo of Caleb and his kids into boxes. Every school portrait, every Christmas morning picture, every vacation memory. I put them all in bubble wrap and shipped them to his house. No note. I changed my will the same week. I had been saving for years. I wasn't rich, but I had the house paid off and a decent chunk in savings. I had always planned on leaving it to Caleb and the grandkids. I took him out. Gave it all to my niece, Carrie, who always remembered my birthday and sent handwritten letters even though she lived out of state. I called my lawyer and made it final. Then I threw out every holiday decoration I owned. All the snowmen, the reindeer, the grandma's Christmas kitchen apron. Every single piece went into boxes and straight to a shelter for homeless families. They were grateful. I felt lighter. I didn't stop there. Julie ran a small online store. She sold cheap wooden signs with cute sayings and painted mugs. She used to beg me to invest. Said they could turn it into a full-time thing if I helped out. I always said no. But now, I started digging. She was using stolen designs. Copying quotes and templates from artists online. Passing them off as her own. I sent a tip, quietly, anonymously. Not just one. I sent 4. With screenshots. The artist took it from there. Her store got flagged. Then shut down. Then her Etsy got banned. Her website went offline. She tried starting over under a new name. I reported that too. It took about 6 months for the fallout to hit. Then I got the call from Caleb. It was early August when Caleb called. I let it go to voicemail. Then he texted. I need to talk. It's important. I didn't reply. The next day, he showed up on my porch. He looked thinner. Pale. Like someone who hadn't been sleeping or eating right. His beard was overgrown. His shirt was stained. I opened the door just enough to look at him. Julie left. He said right away. No hi, no how are you? Just those 2 words. She took the kids. She's living with her sister in Arizona now. I tried calling her parents, but they won't speak to me either. I didn't say anything. She blames me for the business falling apart. Says I never supported her right. He rubbed his face like he was trying to wipe his whole life off. She said I was a mama's boy and a coward. That part stung. I could see it in his eyes. But it didn't make me feel sorry for him. Not this time. He looked around me, into the house. Can I come in? Just for a few minutes. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. No, I said. I don't think that's a good idea. His mouth dropped a little. Like he couldn't believe I said it. I don't have anywhere to go, he said. I've been crashing on a friend's couch. I nodded. That's hard. He stared at me. Mom, come on. You told me I was too much, remember? That it was easier without me. He looked down. I was wrong. I was just trying to keep peace with Julie. You don't know what she was like behind closed doors. No, I said. I don't. Because you never told me anything. You just cut me off like garbage. I thought that would be the end of it. That he'd walk away. Instead, he got angry. So this is it? You're gonna leave me out here like a damn stranger? After everything you did for me growing up, you're just gonna let me fall? His words were sharp. Like I owed him something. Like I hadn't been tossed aside like trash less than a year ago. I took a deep breath. You made your choices. You let her treat me like nothing. You didn't stand up for me. You didn't even check on me after Christmas. I didn't know how. He shouted. I didn't know what to say. You could have said sorry. He looked away, jaw clenched. I gave everything to you, Caleb. I worked 2 jobs. I skipped meals so you could eat. I never once asked for anything back. But I won't be disrespected in my own life. Not anymore. His eyes welled up. I lost everything. I nodded again. So did I. Then I turned and went back inside. Closed the door. He stayed on the porch for a while. I watched from behind the curtain. He didn't cry. He just sat there still. Then after about 10 minutes he got up and walked to his car. I thought that was the end. But it wasn't. 2 weeks later, I got a call from my cousin Denise. I just saw Caleb, she said. He was at the Community Resource Center downtown. She paused. He looked bad, hon. I didn't ask her what he was doing there. I already knew. Food banks, job help, housing referrals. She said he asked if anyone knew how to reach me. I hadn't blocked him. I just stopped answering. Later that night, I went online. I don't know why. I looked up Julie's name. She'd started a GoFundMe. Said she was a single mother starting over after surviving emotional abuse. Her story was full of half-truths and lies. She painted herself like a victim. People were donating. Leaving comments like, "Stay strong, mama," and, "Men like that never change." Caleb wasn't perfect. But he wasn't the monster she made him out to be. That complicated things. I was angry still. But now I wasn't sure if I was angry at Caleb, or at both of them. Or at myself, for raising a man who could be so weak. Then the next twist came. 3 days later, someone egged my house. Just one window cracked. But the whole front porch was splattered. Yellow yolk dripping down the siding. I checked the camera. It was dark, but I could see the outline of someone tall in a hoodie. The way he walked. The way he ran off. It looked like Caleb. I didn't call the police. I cleaned it myself. But the next day, I did something else. I called a lawyer. I sat with that lawyer for an hour. Her name was Dana. Early 40s. No nonsense. The kind of woman who had seen every kind of family mess you could think of. I didn't plan to sue Caleb or press charges. I just wanted to know my rights. I told her about the text. The egging. The inheritance changes. All of it. She listened carefully. Then she asked a question I wasn't expecting. Do you want to keep the door open, even just a crack? I didn't answer. I went home, poured myself some tea, and sat on the back porch. I thought about that question for a long time. Because the truth was, I wasn't sure anymore. I didn't trust Caleb. But I still loved him. Or maybe I loved the memory of him. The boy version of him, before Julie, before all this bitterness. I wasn't planning to let him back in. But I wasn't planning for what came next either. 2 weeks after the egging, I got a letter. Not a bill. Not junk mail. A real letter. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting. It was Julie's. I almost threw it out. But something in me wanted to know what she had to say. The letter was 5 pages long. I'll sum it up. She knew I reported her. She said she had ways of finding out things. And she should have known I'd try to ruin her. She blamed me for her failing business, for the stress of her marriage, and even for Caleb's emotional instability. Then she wrote this. You think you won? You're a bitter old woman with no family. You'll die alone, and no one will remember you. You should have just stayed quiet and let us live our lives. At the bottom, she signed it with a Bible verse. Can you believe that? I sat there shaking. Not from fear. From fury. Because it wasn't just an insult. It was a threat. A challenge. So I went straight back to Dana the next day. I showed her the letter. She told me to keep it, along with any others that might come. She said if there was a pattern, we could file a harassment claim. That was the plan. Until something else came out, something I didn't expect. 2 nights later, I got a message on Facebook from someone I didn't recognize. A woman named Erica. She said, I hope this isn't weird. I saw what Julie wrote about you on her private IG. She posted a photo of your house and said you were a crazy old snake and that she was thinking about filing a restraining order to shut you up. I used to be friends with her, but I'm not anymore. I just thought you should know. My stomach dropped. I asked Erica for a screenshot. She sent 3. One of my house, taken from a car window, obviously without my knowing. One of Julie holding a wine glass with the caption, Cheers to cutting off the rot. And one where she bragged about how the old hag thinks she's safe but forgot I have dirt. I forwarded it all to Dana. Dana didn't blink. She's trying to build a case in reverse, she said. Paint herself as the victim before anything can be pinned on her. Classic manipulator move, I said. So what do I do? She said. You let her keep digging her own hole. But we'll be ready when she falls in. A few nights after that, I got another visitor. Not Caleb. It was a young woman. Maybe late 20s, early 30s. Nervous. Blonde. Skinny. Dressed casual, but neat. She knocked twice. I opened the door halfway. Are you Caleb's mom? I nodded. She said, I don't know how to say this. My name's Megan. I dated Caleb before he married Julie. I stared at her. I didn't say anything. She took a deep breath. I just wanted to tell you. Julie's always been like this. Controlling. She isolated him from everyone. From me, from you, even from his friends. I asked, why now? Because I saw her fundraiser. She said. And I know she's lying. She's good at it. And I thought you should know what really happened. I let her inside. We sat at my kitchen table. She told me stories. Some I believed, some I didn't want to. But one thing stood out. Julie had been pushing Caleb to cut me off for years. Every time he tried to call or visit, she made it a problem. Fought with him. Threatened to leave. She even made him block me on social media after I commented, "Happy birthday," on one of the kids' pictures. Megan said Caleb had been miserable for a long time. Too scared to leave. Too weak to fight back. I asked her, so why did he finally do it? She said, Because he thought it would stop the screaming. It didn't. It just delayed it. Julie only got worse. And when everything crumbled, when the money dried up, when the business fell apart, she needed someone to blame. And it couldn't be her. So she pointed at me. The puzzle pieces were starting to fit. But something else was happening too, something I didn't expect. People started reaching out. 2 of Caleb's old friends messaged me to say they'd been blocked by Julie years ago after liking one of my photos. My neighbor said he saw Julie parked outside my house twice in the past month. And then Carrie, my niece, the one I left everything to, called me in tears. Julie had messaged her. Said she was concerned for my mental state. Said I was spiteful and delusional. And trying to turn the family against her. Carrie didn't believe it. She told me right away. But that was the moment I knew Julie wasn't just trying to get back at me. She was trying to erase me. The minute Julie went after Carrie, something in me changed. Before I was just defending myself. But now she was trying to ruin anyone who still cared about me. She wanted to erase me like I never mattered. She had already taken Caleb. Now she wanted to poison what little I had left. I wasn't going to let that happen. So I stopped waiting for her next move. I made my own. Every message. Every voicemail. Every screenshot Erica and others sent me. The letter. The egging. The photos Julie took of my house without permission. Her public fundraiser, full of lies. Her private insults, threats, and slander. I built a file. I had dates. Names. Evidence. Dana looked it over and said, "This is enough to file for a protection order, maybe even defamation." But I wasn't done. Step 2, I called someone I hadn't spoken to in a long time, Caleb's old high school friend, Nate. Nate and Caleb used to be close until Julie, accidentally, told him that Nate talked behind his back. Total lie. Caleb cut him off without ever asking questions. I found Nate's number through a mutual friend. I left a message. He called me back within the hour. We met for coffee. He told me everything. How Julie would sit next to Caleb when he texted. How she deleted contacts from his phone. How she once made him skip Nate's wedding by lying about a miscarriage. She controlled every part of his life. And no one dared challenge her, because she was good at twisting the story. Good at tears. Good at playing the victim. Everyone thought she was just protective, Nate said. But she was paranoid. Manipulative. And Caleb, he wasn't strong enough to see it. I asked him one thing. Would you be willing to talk to a lawyer? He didn't hesitate. Yes. Step 3, we filed everything. Dana drafted a cease and desist for harassment and defamation. We also filed for a protective order based on stalking and emotional abuse. And Dana made one more call, to a local journalist who covered small-town fraud and online scams. I didn't think it would go anywhere. But it did. The journalist looked into the GoFundMe. Found out Julie had raised over $8,000. Claimed it was for rent and school supplies. But the day after her fundraiser hit $5,000, she bought a new iPad and had spa services done in Scottsdale. She posted it on her private Instagram. The article dropped 2 weeks later. The title read, "Mother's online fundraiser under fire after evidence of misuse surfaces." It didn't name me. But it mentioned her business being shut down for copyright theft. It mentioned the restraining order I filed. It mentioned a pattern of targeting family members and misrepresenting facts for personal gain. The article went viral, at least locally. She lost followers. Donations dried up. People started asking for refunds. And then came the final blow. GoFundMe froze her account. Then shut it down. Investigated. Flagged her for fraud. She was ordered to return $6,400. She didn't have it. She made a video crying, blaming a bitter ex-mother-in-law for destroying her life. Comments turned off within an hour. A week after the article came out, Caleb came back. He looked worse than before. Skinny, broken, tired. He stood on my porch with a letter in his hand. "I wrote this," he said, "because I didn't think you'd ever let me talk." I took it. He didn't ask to come in. He just walked away. I stood there for a long time before I opened it. It said, "Mom, I'm sorry. For all of it. I let someone convince me you were the problem when you were the only one who ever showed up. I was weak. I knew she was lying, but I didn't want to lose her, so I let her turn me into a coward. I abandoned you. I let her hurt you. I hurt you. You didn't deserve any of it. I'm living in a halfway house now. Trying to get clean. I never told you, but after the divorce, I started drinking hard. Then pills. Then whatever I could get my hands on. I'm 34 and I've destroyed every good thing in my life. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking to move in. I'm just asking if one day, maybe not soon, you could forgive me. I miss you. Caleb, I cried. I cried so hard I couldn't breathe. Not because everything was fixed, but because, for once, he told the truth. The protective order was approved. Julie couldn't contact me again without risking arrest. Her family cut her off. Her reputation in town was ruined. Even her church dropped her after her lies got exposed. She lost her apartment. Moved in with someone new, another man dumb enough to fall for the same tricks. I give it 6 months. As for Caleb, I didn't let him move back in. But I did visit his recovery program. I brought him socks, a journal, and a photo of him and me from when he was 6, sitting on Santa's lap. He cried when I handed it to him. I said, "You don't get to come home yet. But you're still my son. And I'll give you the chance to earn your way back." He nodded. That was the first honest moment we'd had in over a decade. This year, I hosted Thanksgiving again. Not for them. For me. I invited neighbors, the ladies from my senior poker group, and Carrie, who flew in from Colorado. We ate. We laughed. We remembered what love looks like. No lies. No control. No fear. I set one extra place at the table. I didn't say who it was for. But I knew. Someday, if he stays clean, if he keeps doing the work, maybe he'll earn his seat back. But the woman who once sat alone in the dark on Christmas Eve? She's gone now. She learned how to stand up. She learned how to let go. And she learned that revenge isn't always about hurting them. Sometimes, it's about finally choosing yourself.